Well, good evening. Welcome to the City of Douglasville Planning Commission meeting. I am Francisco Artley, the chairman of the Planning Commission. The other members of the Planning Commission are Keith Burnett, the vice chair, Natalie Fegan, Nathan Zachary, Ralph Benton, and Mark Van. The staff members are Miranda Jordan, staff attorney, Dana Gray, planning and zoning administrator, and Chelsea Tubbs, senior planner. There are a few protocol items I need to make you aware of before we start the meeting. Please listen closely on how tonight's meeting will be conducted. Keep your comments and presentation on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this commission to make its decision. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. You will receive a warning from the chair if you deviate from this requirement. A second deviation will result in a request for you to leave the meeting and the premises for the evening. Refrain from any applause or comments from the audience. Only one person will be talking at a time, and all comments will be made at the podium after the speaker has been recognized by the chair. Please direct all comments to the chair and the committee, not to the audience or to the staff. Please do not applaud or react to speakers. Speak from the audience, cheer, carry on a conversation with others in the audience, or disrupt the order of this meeting in any way. Be aware that these hearings are not a debate or an opportunity to ask questions which must be answered by any individual tonight, but merely an opportunity to present information to the commission. Other than the applicant, no person may speak more than once. The applicant may the applicant may reserve part of their speaking time as a rebuttal and may speak next and last and may use the entire 20 minutes allotted for the pro side of the application. Other than the applicant, no person may speak longer than 5 minutes. If you have a cell phone or any other electronic device, I ask that you either power them off or put them into silent mode. If anyone wishes to speak tonight, please fill out a form available at the table up front and hand it to the staff before approaching the podium. After the case is called, we will hear next from the staff regarding any relevant information to this case. The commission members will be free to ask questions at any time before the vote on a project. Following the applicant, anyone who wishes to speak for or against the project or just ask questions will have an opportunity to do so. The city ordinance restricts each side to a maximum of 20 minutes, or time may be waived at the discretion of the presiding official. If questions are raised, we may ask the applicant to speak again. Afterward, we will call for a motion and a second, have any necessary discussion, and if the matter is not tabled, we will vote to recommend approval or denial of the application. This commission is only a recommending body. The items will be heard by the mayor and council whether we recommend approval or disapproval. All items will be heard by the city's mayor and council at their legislative meeting on Thursday, February 27th, and then voted upon them at their meeting the following Monday, March 3rd. The first item on our agenda is to approve the minutes from the January 7th meeting. Is there any need for discussion on these minutes? Do I have a recommendation?
I recommend we approve the minutes from the January 7th meeting.
Do I have a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the motion passes and the minutes from January 7th are approved. Do we have any old business? No. All right. The first case is item 25-054. Hold a public hearing and consider a request for a change in zoning from PUD, Plan Unit Development, with a base zoning of GC General Commercial to GC General Commercial for plus or minus 9.61 acres located at 3311 Summerlin Parkway in land lot 760, District 18, Section 2, parcel ID 07601820007. Applicant application by John Jordan and Heck Walker, Jordan PC. Staff will now present the item.
Good evening, Planning Commission, Dana Grace, 6695 Church Street. Again, this is a rezoning for 3311 Summerlin Parkway. The applicant is requesting to rezone PUD with a base zone, well, PUD is planned unit development with a base zone of GC, which is general commercial, to GC, general commercial. So when this development was rezoned, stipulations were placed on the parcel, which only allowed for a daycare or office use. So the purpose of the rezoning is to remove that stipulation. The applicant is proposing a car wash, C-store with gas station, a large commercial building which can be subdivided into smaller suites, a smaller commercial building as well, which might be used for proposed to use for a quick service restaurant. So staff is also recommending stipulations for this parcel to be restricted to a C-store with gas station, a car wash, 2 commercial buildings, and a smaller commercial buildings with retail uses, grocery store, and restaurant. And that concludes.
All right. Are there
And
any?
the applicant is here,
I'm sorry?
and the applicant is present.
Okay. Are there any questions from the commission?
I have one question for clarity. You said it was to remove daycare center, and what was the other?
To daycare and office use,
Office, okay.
yes.
It's currently zoned PUD with a base of GC, but a restriction of daycare and office.
Yes.
Okay. And then this is to remove that into general commercial, but then with the restriction of office or staff recommendations for
Yes.
car wash and 2
And-
commercial buildings.
Yes,
Got
and
it.
gas station, yes.
Got it. Thank you.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Obviously, lots been happening right there on Lee Road recently. When was that previous zoning done?
Do believe that was in 2004.
Okay.
And then I see it that they've applied for a future land use amendment.
Yes, so that will be heard by mayor and council. That's who hears those amendments.
Okay, so that's separate from this?
Yes, it's separate.
Okay.
All right. Are there any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Will the applicant come forward and state their name and address for the record? Tell us what you intend to do on this property.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is John Jordan. I'm with Heck Walker Jordan PC, 205 Corporate Center Drive, Suite B, Stockbridge, Georgia, 30281. Our firm is the applicant for this item, but we represent 1317 Investment LLC, which is currently under contract to purchase this property. Mr. Ali Varani is one of the partners with the buying group, and he's with us here tonight, as well as his contractor and other partners in case there are additional questions. If I could, I'd like to reserve 5 minutes for rebuttal. This property, my client would like to develop this property for a multi-use general commercial retail shopping plaza, which would include 2 general commercial retail buildings, one larger, one smaller, a set-aside commercial car wash, and then a C-store gas station or C-store with gasoline sales. The subject property was last zoned in 2004 as the commercial component for the Kensington Park planned unit development. And during that 2004 rezoning, as staff mentioned, a condition was placed that just restricted all use to office and a daycare, nothing else. Unfortunately, no use has been made of the property and no interest has really come with the property with that restriction in the last 20 years. And rezoning the current use restriction to allow for general commercial uses other than a daycare and office, which would not be allowed, of course, under the staff stipulation, would open it up for other businesses to come in and bring further the economic development of the city itself. The city does not yet have a procedure for just amending zoning conditions, so getting with staff, we decided the route would be to apply for a rezoning from the PUD to a GC classification. I've spoken with my client about the stipulations, and my client is in agreement with those stipulations as well. It would be consistent with his plans for the development. Additionally, a future land use map amendment has been requested. Right now, it's high-density residential, which isn't even really consistent with the current commercial aspect. And so we're requesting to amend that to mixed use to support the mixture of commercial uses that we're anticipating there. Again, I believe that's going to be heard by the city council, but I did want to let you know what we were applying for that. This property is located at 3311 Summerlin Parkway. It's approximately 9.61 acres and is currently vacant and undeveloped. It is at the intersection with Summerlin and Lee Road, just south of I-20. And let's see. This is an aerial map with the subject property. I don't know if you have a way of seeing this up there. Great. So the subject property is right here at the intersection with Lee Road and Summerlin Parkway. As you can see, as far as surrounding uses, the residential portion of the planned unit development is over here to the west. This is the commercial portion of it. To the south is actually across Summerlin Parkway is unincorporated Douglas County with some additional single-family homes. And then across Lee Road is also unincorporated Douglas County with a mixture of different uses. There's a senior living facility right across the street from us. And then just south of that is a CubeSmart self-storage facility. Just below that is, I believe it's Lithia Springs church or place of worship. Further down south from the subject property, there are a few additional commercial developments along this Lee Road corridor as well, so this would be consistent with that. I do have some photos of the subject property and the surrounding areas. This is the subject property here. You can see, I don't know if you've been down Lee Road, but there's a road widening project that's ongoing to widen Lee Road to 4 lanes, which would accommodate this property as well as the area in general, so there shouldn't be any traffic impact with this development. Again, some other pictures of the subject property. And this is a wider version of a picture of the subject property from across the street at the senior living facility. And it does continue going on down towards the right there. As far as surrounding uses, this is looking north from the subject property area. You've got down the road, you've got a Waffle House right here. You've got a look like a warehouse distribution facility next to it, and then I-20. You've got a couple of apartment complexes just north of us of this property as well. And this is the senior living facility across the street. The Assembly of God Church is almost across the street, is located right there, just south of the CubeSmart facility. And then a couple of additional commercial uses down further south as well. As for the concept plan itself, again, we're looking at 4 buildings. The primary shopping center building is number 1 right here would be approximately 72,000 square feet. And we're looking at hopefully getting it anchored by a farmer's market, grocer type of business, and then would be subdivided and demised for additional business suites according to businesses that are coming into the area. There'll be a smaller retail restaurant building, I believe that's approximately 2,300 square feet along Lee Road, which would be anticipated for either retail or a small quick service or a restaurant space, drive-through coffee shop, that kind of thing. I think Chipotle possibly, Starbucks maybe, or another drive-through coffee shop. And then, of course, you've got the C-store right here with the gasoline sales at the intersection of Summerlin and Lee Road. The C-store is going to be approximately 4,000 square feet. And as far as the gas pumps, we're looking at 6 double-sided gas pumps for a total of 12 fueling points for that as well. There'll be 3 entrances for ingress and egress. One is going to be along Lee Road with a deceleration lane. That'll be, of course, done in conjunction with the road widening project. And then you'll have 2 along Summerlin here and here as well. The water detention pond is located in the back, which would provide additional buffer space between this development and the adjacent properties, though I do believe that this parkway goes through a lot of wooded area as well, so there really isn't much impact on the adjacent parcels right here. The development would complement the existing residential uses, especially for providing for a more of a work, live, play environment. As part of the road widening and road improvements, you've got sidewalks that are coming up along Lee Road and Summerlin Parkway. So walkability would add to the attraction for this development as well. And the existing rooftops, of course, would help support these businesses and make it a successful business as well, along with pass-by traffic from I-20. The development would provide for a significant amount of additional jobs for the area, with potential grocer and other businesses coming in. And of course, the development would increase the property value. Instead of being vacant and undeveloped, the property value would be substantially increased with these improvements, and that would generate additional tax revenue for the area as well. It would also allow for the property to be beautified aesthetically with landscaping and routine maintenance, instead of being left dormant if it doesn't sell for this project. It would still be a commercial component as originally planned, just with not as restrictive of a use prohibition to allow it to actually invite businesses to it. And in order to do that, we are requesting this rezoning to broaden the amount of commercial uses that we can attract to this property. And as such, we greatly appreciate your recommendation for approval of this application, and be glad to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from the commission? All right. So this will be right across the street from that 1 or 2 subdivisions. Is it in front of one and across the street from another? The way I was looking at the picture, it looks like?
Yeah, it would be, so there are single-family homes. I guess there's an older subdivision just south of it, across
Right.
Summerlin. And then you'll have the subdivision, the residential portion of the PUD is further down the parkway in the back of that large PUD
Okay.
project. See if I can show you. So it's hard to show on this, but this is the PUD right here. So
Yeah.
this is the subject property.
Right.
And then down the parkway a bit, you have the single-family homes and the residents there. And then to the
Yeah.
south, additional single-family residences. And also, just in case, I do have a few CGI renderings,
Right.
in case it's helpful to get a view of that as well.
So basically, you're hoping if you build it, they'll come. the businesses.
It would have to be built first before anybody would sign a lease to come in.
Right. Have you driven up and down Lee Road to see how many businesses are empty or?
I've driven up and down Lee Road and seen businesses. I haven't noticed, empty, dormant businesses, but I just haven't noticed it.
Okay. No questions from the board? All right, thank you, sir.
Sure, thank you.
Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the project, ask questions, or make other comments? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Is there anyone who would like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. All right. Is there any need for further discussion? All right. Do I have a motion regarding this application?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion, we approve the application as noted from staff.
Okay. Is there a second? Second. All right. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the motion passes and the application is recommended for approval and will be heard by the city mayor and council at their legislative meeting on Thursday, February 27th, and then voted upon by them at their meeting on the following Monday, March 3rd. So, thank you, sir. Thank you. The second case is item 25-055. Hold a public hearing and consider a request for a change in zoning from RA Residential Agriculture County to R2 Single Family Residential Detached City for plus or minus 79.6 acres located on Doris Road in land lot 228, District 2, Section 5, Parcel ID 022802500001. Application by Jeff Matthews, Themis Assets Recovery. Staff will now present the item.
Good evening again, Planning Commission. This is a rezoning from RA Residential Agriculture, which is in the county, to R2 Single Family Detached, Single Family Residential District, which is in the city, R2, which is in the city, located on Doris Road. The applicant is proposing to develop 41 single-family homes. The applicant is also applying for an annexation of the parcel from county to city, and this will be heard by mayor and council. So this annexation request went before the county, and they had no objections. So when their proposal for R2 will reflect what is existing right now, which is RA in Douglas County. So the density will be very similar, so they're not making a drastic change to what was already proposed to be there. And that concludes.
All right. Are there any questions from the board?
The annexation piece of it, I guess it still has to go before council.
Yes.
For the city.
Yes.
Does the cart come before the horse on that one? Should that happen before we do this zoning piece, or does it matter?
They chose to be okay with that direction by rezoning first and then do the annexation. So it is exclusive to mayor and council's review. Planning commission does come first before mayor and council, so, and that is your recommendation for the rezoning. Yeah.
All right.
Can we rezone something that's not city? Because right now, it's not city.
It's because it was no objections during the annexation from the county. They would like to match the zoning, so yes, you can go from the county zoning to the city.
Ms. Fagan, are you asking if we can rezone something that's in the county as far as timing, so what happens, they hear it at the same time at the city council meeting, and if the rezoning is not approved by the city council, then the applicant has the ability to just withdraw their annexation application. Because what the city doesn't want to do is annex something and then it not have a zoning. So that's why they're typically done at the same time, so that one is kind of conditioned upon the other.
Okay. Are there any other questions? All right, thank you, sir.
And the applicant is present.
Will the applicant come forward and state their name and address for the record? Tell us what you intend to do on this property.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the Commission. Thank you for hearing our request. My name is Aaron McCullough. I am with HRC Engineers and a representative of our client, Themis Asset Recovery. My address is 6554 Church Street, Douglasville, Georgia, 30134. So as Mr. Gray stated, the intent for the rezoning of this property is a single-family detached residential subdivision. It is RA in the county, which is the lowest density residential zoning in the county, and we are requesting an R2 zoning in the city, which is the compatible and parallel lowest density residential district in the city. 41 single-family homes. We provided a site plan for you. Directly across the street, to make a note, there is a annexed and zoned piece of property that is also R2 zoning, and all of the surrounding properties to us are RA county. So it is compatible with adjacent city property and the adjacent and contiguous county zoning properties as well. 41 lots. It is lower in density than is allowed by the R2 zoning and the RA zoning as well. We did provide a few, as requested, a few renderings of homes, potential homes. Of course, all homes that would be built within this neighborhood would be in compliance with architectural and facade requirements for the city of Douglasville. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
All right, are there any questions from the board?
Is it split? It's hard to tell on the picture.
So the property is bisected by a tributary of Mobley Creek, so it is not split. It is one large contiguous parcel, but the development would be split because of that tributary that bisects the property, yes.
Okay.
Do you know the buffer between the property and the tributary?
So the standard stream buffers that are applied by the city that are per city code, there is a 50-foot undisturbed buffer to each side of the creek bank, and then beyond that is an additional 25 feet non-impervious setback. So a total of 150 feet of width from that stream, roughly centered along that stream.
Okay.
What size of square footage of these homes are they?
So we have not planned the square footage of those homes, but I believe within the city minimum, we would be above and beyond that. I think that is 1,800. I may be incorrect in that. 1,500, we would be above those, sir.
So, quick question. So this is down the street and across from the elementary school, correct?
That is correct. From the elementary school, you head north on Doris, and it would be on the left-hand side of the street as you were heading to Paulding County. That is correct.
So how big are the lots?
The minimum size lot is 1 acre.
1 acre?
Yes, sir. 1 acre is the minimum size on this plan.
All right.
Did I see that there's
There is a cemetery located near that creek. It's about a quarter acre in size. We have had the cemetery commission come and review that, and we will absolutely stay away from that cemetery and protect it. And we actually would like to do something that would provide a little bit of historical education or perspective to that cemetery as well. Yes.
All right. Just want to say I am surprised to see R2 for once. Yeah. So, all right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the project, ask questions, or make other comments? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. All right. Is there anyone who would like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address.
William Frost, 1326 Doris. This property he's talking about developing, what are we going to do with the traffic? We can't hardly get out of my driveway in the mornings and in the evenings. And you're going to add 40 more houses? What are we going to do about the traffic? Is the county going to come in and widen the roads? Are they going to give us a free pass, put a traffic light up? You know, we need something to let that traffic off that road or keep it off. And I'm just totally against it at that rate. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Good evening. My name's DeWitt Roper. I live at 6826 Cedar Mountain Road in Douglasville. I'm opposed to this. This whole area is rural farmland. To the north of it is, and just to the right is a 200-acre cattle ranch Curtis Shipley owns. Miss Marshall, she owns an alpaca farm that borders it. Mobley Creek intersects Gothers Creek just right down the road. There's two crosses on that property on the side of the road where there's been deaths in just the last few years, but many more than that. I own the property at Cedar Mountain Doris Road. I've lived there for 70 years. There's 14,000 cars a day, the traffic study I had done then, that comes down Doris Road. There's just no way you need to add anything to this. And the only reason this is being able to do because somebody had that 10 acres annexed years ago. They come in and annexed in the city. They did nothing with it, absolutely nothing with it. That's when they was allowing spot zoning. But, you know, I don't know what they would do with this as far as the landscaping to keep it rural. I had mine rezoned in 2010. A guy had purchased it. It's when the banks failed. And the county wanted to keep it so rural that they were going to make the developer put a pitch roof on his canopy, like a house. That was going to make him, he couldn't light his canopy up. Well, like the shell signs and stuff, it had to be halo lighting from the ground up. We've been trying for years to get Cedar Mountain put into green space. The old landfill is green space. The new landfill, most of it's green space. Buford Hudson's got 300 acres. Curtis has got 200 acres. And the Shipleys have, you know, this is so out of place, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever, including the public safety aspect of it. And keep in mind, it's right on Mobley Creek and it intersections Gothers Creek, which goes into the East Point Reservoir in just a very short distance. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Laura Marshall. I'm at 1320 Doris Road. I am literally right next to the property. I do own an alpaca farm. There was been accidents in front of my house for people coming in because I do agritourism. So traffic is definitely a factor. I know schools are a factor as well. Not enough teachers per students. And also, I'm concerned that the dogs, my dogs, okay, they're livestock guardian dogs. They bark all night long. That's their job, to patrol. They sleep during the day and bark all night long, okay? Am I going to have the cops called on me? I talked to Mr. Matthews. He's like, oh, you know, they know it's rule. They'll just have to get over it. No, people are not going to get over it. So, you know, and then plus a bunch of kids, you know, being mischief and throwing stuff over at my animal. You know, I'm just really concerned about it.
Okay. All right.
And that's all I have to say. Oh, and the other thing, so if he gets it zoned R2, will that affect anybody else? Will that be like a domino effect?
No, because it's just for that piece of property.
Okay. But still, 41 houses, there was an accident right across the street from me. Lady died. And like I said, there was accidents coming into my property because of all the traffic.
Okay.
So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else? All right. Is there any need for further discussion?
I have a question
Yes,
for staff.
for
I
staff.
think so. You know, I know there's an annexation going on, which doesn't have anything to do with us. A rezoning, that we're basically rezoning this for it to be into the city and for it to be basically exactly the same zoning it is now. I mean, even if we didn't rezone it, they could still build the 41 houses without anybody's permission. It would just have to stay in the county, correct?
Correct, yes, they could. And they could ask for a different type of rezoning as well in the county, so,
Well, but I just mean right now,
but yes,
it's a county zoning and it fits the county zoning. They could literally go build whether we do anything or not.
correct.
That's
So
what I-
as it is now, as it's zoned agricultural, there still could be 41 houses built there.
Right. So I don't know, that's right, yeah, yes.
So why change, what's the point of changing from city to county?
The upfront answer would be they prefer to be in the city, but I can defer to the applicant on their reason.
Because if it's the same, what's the point?
If the applicant would like to come back up.
So the question, let me rephrase that, why be in the city, right? So two items, if I may. Number one, we feel that this community, and we like our communities to fit the fabric and vibrancy of the city of Douglasville. That's number one. Number two, very simply, the city of Douglasville, and this is a business venture, right? The city of Douglasville is a place where it is very easy to do business and conduct business. One, from city staff perspective, the responsiveness and the willingness of customer service with city staff, and the ability of those within the city to be responsive. And we appreciate the fact that that exists in today.
So no other reasons than it just feels good?
We like doing things and we like business in the city. That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And so as it is, you could put 41 houses there now?
By right, yes, ma'am, that is absolutely right. And you can actually you could put more
Okay.
by the current allowance. Yes, ma'am.
Is there a possibility that you would put more?
Not at the current
Not if
plan.
it's R2, they can't.
Yeah, not at the current plan.
Oh, yeah, they
They
can.
could put a couple-
squeeze a little.
Yeah.
They could a little.
Because you said you want 1 acre per lot right now.
That is our current minimum. Yes.
I hear you saying that's the current minimum, but is that the current plan?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Because I mean, I would hate for you to come forward and say, we're going to build 41 homes and then get approved and decide to shove 82 in there.
That's not possible.
Yeah, well, I understand that, but still. So as the concerns you've heard, as far as the road and the traffic, would there be exit or to turn off without having the backup traffic? Or would you seek maybe a possible light? Or what would the buffer be between the subdivision and, as we were, Ms. Laura was talking about, the alpaca farm?
So, in terms of the traffic, the quantity of lots that we have do not meet a threshold for a traffic study. And I do hear the concerns for traffic, so that is not part of the requirement. However, any access management into the site for safety is delegated to the Douglas County Department of Transportation along Doris Road and with the city of Douglasville, and would be totally in compliance with the safety standards and engineering standards for access into and exiting this property.
Well, is that something you would seek? I mean, as far as turn-in lanes and?
That is absolutely right. We would most likely be required to do those things as well. Yes, sir. And you asked another question concerning the buffer.
Yes.
We would be willing to provide an undisturbed buffer and/or screening along that adjacent property line.
Because I was just kind of wondering how far back the houses would be on the 1 acre, if they would be closer to the road, or they'd be back towards the back of the property, or if it plopped in the middle of the acre?
It is going to be in the front half of the lot. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Are there any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there any need for further discussion? Oh, we got one more, I'm sorry. We have one more speaker.
Hey there, Stormy Hoag, 1320 Doris Road. I guess I have a couple of questions. The first one would be, is this neighborhood going to require sewer? Because there's no sewer on Doris Road. And then two, is there going to be a sound barrier between the neighborhood and the alpaca farm and the other surrounding areas? And then the graveyard, there's no history of the graveyard, so I guess maybe we need to look up and see what maybe he's going to do for that. Because I don't know the history of the graveyard, but it is there, so. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you. All right. There's what? Oh, did you want to hear the history? Sir, you said you know the history? Yeah. Would you like to come up, back up, please?
Yes, I'm actually the honorary mayor of the Cedar Mountain Dark Corners community for the last 50 years. I'm the one that told the Graveyard Commission where that graveyard is. I've lived there for 70-something years. There is no history. It's just a bunch of sunken graves. You know, there's no markers, there's no nothing on those graves. It's just sunken graves. So him to be talking about there's a history to it, he could never find a history or anything to it. So that's the history of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. All right. Is there anyone else that would like to speak other than in favor? All right. Is there any need for further discussion? All right. Do I have a motion regarding this application?
Yeah, it's a stressful, I mean, you know. Really doesn't matter what we do.
Yeah, it doesn't, but it's also stressful to vote on something, because we're here to serve our community, and we don't live in county. So it's stressful to make a decision based on, I mean, we're all in Douglasville, but still,
Right,
that's the,
right. All right,
that's frustrating, when are volunteering to serve our community,
right.
and we're asked to make a decision based on county.
If I am correct from last time, if there is no motion, then it's automatically denied. We're recommended for denial, right? Because that was happened with that one. All right.
I'll make a motion to deny item 25-055.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
All right. The motion passes and the application is recommended for disapproval. It will be heard by the city's mayor and council at their legislative meeting on Thursday, February 27th, and then voted upon by them at their meeting on the following Monday, March 3rd. Thank you. All right. Are there any staff reports? Nope. All right. Then I recommend that we adjourn this meeting until our March meeting, which will be, sorry, March what? March 4th? All right, our next meeting will be March 4th. This meeting is adjourned.